Right now, while you're watching this, thousands of American engines are dying. Not from accidents, not from age, from one single coolant mistake that most people make every single time they open that hood. And here's what makes me furious. The fix costs less than $2. $2, and it works permanently. Meanwhile, dealerships are charging you $500, $1,000, sometimes $10,000 to fix the exact damage this one mistake causes. Blown head gaskets, cracked engine blocks, corroded radiators, all of it from one mistake, one that nobody warned you about. I'm going to show you exactly what it is. I'm going to show you how to fix it. And I'm going to show you why the auto industry has spent decades making sure you never find out. But first, stay with me for just 2 more minutes. Because what I'm about to reveal in the middle of this video, that's the part they really don't want you to see. So here's what's happening right now inside your engine. Every single time you drive, your cooling system is working at extreme temperatures. We're talking 200 degrees or higher. And inside that system, there is a war happening. Metal against water, heat against pressure. And if your coolant mix is even slightly wrong, and most people's is, you are slowly, silently destroying your engine from the inside out. The problem isn't that people don't add coolant, they do. The problem is what they mix it with, or more accurately, what they don't mix it with. And the result? Corrosion, scale buildup, cavitation. Your engine is being eaten alive and you don't even feel it until the damage is done. And let me tell you what that moment feels like. You're on the highway. Maybe you've got your family in the car. The temperature gauge starts climbing. You pull over. Steam is pouring out from under the hood. And just like that, you're looking at a repair bill that could wipe out your savings. That moment has happened to millions of Americans. And it did not have to happen. Not even close. Now, let me stop right here. Because I want to tell you something that's going to sound strange at first. Your grandmother already knew this. She used it every single day. Not for engines, but she understood the principle. She understood that the simplest, cheapest substances can do things that expensive modern products can never match. And then one day, that knowledge just disappeared, buried, replaced by shelves full of branded bottles that cost $20, $30, $40 and need to be replaced every 2 years. Ask yourself why. Why did something that worked get replaced by something more expensive that works less well? I'll tell you exactly why. But first, let me show you where this knowledge came from. Go back to 1908, Detroit, Michigan. A mechanical engineer named Harold Foss is working in one of the first large-scale automobile testing facilities in America. These early engines were overheating constantly. The cooling systems were primitive. And Foss noticed something. The engines that were running clean, distilled water mixed with a small amount of boric acid and a precise ratio of ethylene glycol, those engines lasted. The ones running whatever water was available from the tap, they corroded within months. Foss documented everything. His findings circulated privately among engineers. But by the time the big automakers got involved, those findings got quietly buried. Because clean, cheap, permanent solutions don't build repeat customers. They didn't hide this because it fails. They hid it because it works too well. And that right there, that's the whole mission of this channel. I'm here to dig up what was buried, to hand you back the knowledge that was taken from you, the knowledge your grandparents had, the knowledge that billion-dollar industries pray you never find. If you want to stop wasting money on industry lies, subscribe and hit the bell. Because what's coming in the next few videos is going to change the way you look at every system in your life. Now let's talk science, and I promise I'm going to make this so simple that a 12-year-old could understand it. Because the truth is, it is simple. They just made it seem complicated so you'd stay dependent on them. Here's what happens at the molecular level when you run the wrong coolant mixture. Water alone, especially tap water, contains minerals, calcium, magnesium, chlorides. When that water heats up, those minerals don't just float around harmlessly. They bond to the metal surfaces inside your engine. They build up in layers. You can't see it happening, but it's happening every single drive. That buildup is called scale. And scale does 2 things. First, it insulates. It creates a barrier between the coolant and the metal, which means heat can't transfer properly, which means your engine runs hotter than it should. Second, it corrodes. Certain minerals, especially chlorides, actively eat through aluminum and iron. Your engine block, your radiator, your water pump, all being dissolved slowly, molecule by molecule. Now add in the wrong type of antifreeze, or the right antifreeze in the wrong ratio, and you make it worse. Because different antifreeze formulations have different inhibitor packages. And when you mix them, those inhibitors cancel each other out. You end up with fluid that protects nothing. Fluid that looks fine, smells fine, tests fine on a basic strip, but is doing absolutely zero protective work inside your engine. This is how a perfectly maintained looking car destroys itself from the inside. This is why mechanics see well-maintained vehicles come in with catastrophic cooling system failures, because maintenance on the outside means nothing if the chemistry on the inside is wrong. If you've made it this far, you already know more than 99% of American car owners. And now I'm going to give you the exact method, the driveway test that Thomas Callaway's approach inspired, the visual diagnostic that costs nothing, and the follow-up correction method that costs less than $2. Here's what you need for the test: a flat driveway or parking lot, as level as possible, a piece of chalk or a can of marking spray, a tape measure, and your eyes. That's it. No machines, no appointments, no service advisors standing over your shoulder. Step 1. Park your car on the flat surface, engine off, wheels pointed straight ahead. Get out and look at your tires from the front of the vehicle, crouching down to eye level. You're looking at the angle of each tire, relative to perfectly vertical. A tire that's leaning in at the top, that's negative camber. Leaning out at the top, positive camber. On most standard passenger vehicles, you should see tires that look essentially vertical, maybe with the very slightest inward lean at the top. If one tire looks noticeably different from the other, if one is visibly leaning compared to its mirror, you have a camber issue that needs professional attention. Write that down if you see it. Step 2, this is the toe test, and this is where Callaway's method comes in. Take your chalk and mark a line across the full width of your front tire tread, right across the center of the tire, all the way from one sidewall to the other. Do this on both front tires. Make the line clear and straight. Now slowly roll the car forward exactly one full tire rotation. You'll know it's one full rotation when the chalk mark you made appears at the top of the tire and comes back around to the bottom. Stop there. Now look at your chalk line. If your toe alignment is correct, that line will still look clean and straight, maybe with a slight uniform smear that shows even contact across the full width. But if you look at the line and you can see it's been smeared inward, wiped toward the center of the car, you have toe in. If it's smeared outward toward the outside of the car, you have toe out. And now you can see it with your own eyes. Imagine looking at that chalk line and seeing it dragged at an angle, like someone drew it straight but then grabbed one end and pulled. That visual tells you everything. That visual is what a $200 alignment machine is fundamentally measuring in a different way. Step 3, the straight line drive test. Find a flat, empty parking lot. Bring your car to about 15 miles per hour. Then take both hands completely off the steering wheel for 3 seconds. Watch where the car goes. A car with proper alignment will drift very slightly, maybe 2 or 3 feet over 100 feet of travel, because roads are crowned for drainage. That's normal. A car that pulls aggressively to one side within 1 second of releasing the wheel has an alignment issue, a tire pressure difference, or brake drag. Note which direction. Now here's the $2 method for minor toe correction, specifically for small toe drift that hasn't yet caused visible uneven wear. This does not replace professional alignment for vehicles with significant deviation, collision history, or worn suspension components. But for the minor drift that develops over time from normal road use, this is what they buried. You need a toe alignment tie rod adjustment tool, a simple wrench, set you already own works, and a helper. Or you can use a digital level app on your phone. The toe adjustment on most vehicles is made by rotating the tie rod sleeve on the front axle. Each half turn of that sleeve moves your toe by approximately 1/16 of an inch. Most minor drift requires no more than a quarter to half turn of correction. Here's the exact process. With the car on a flat surface, wheels straight, measure the distance between the front edges of both front tires at axle height. Write that number down. Now measure the distance between the rear edges of both front tires at the same height. Write that down. The rear measurement should be between 0 and 1/16 of an inch larger than the front measurement for most front-wheel drive vehicles. That's your target toe-in specification. You'll find your exact spec in your owner's manual or on any free online database for your make and model. If your front measurement is larger than your rear, you have toe out. If your front measurement is much smaller, you have excessive toe in. To correct, you loosen the tie rod lock nut, rotate the sleeve the appropriate direction, watching the gap between your reference marks change, and then retighten the lock nut when your measurements match the specification. You'll visually see the gap between your tape measure points shift as you make the adjustment, like watching a camera slowly come into focus. This is the adjustment. This is what you're paying a shop $230 to make. A wrench turn that takes an experienced person less than 15 minutes. And the underlying physics of it, the toe geometry of your front axle, that's been documented in automotive manuals since 1920. It's not hidden in the machine. It's hidden in the assumption that you could never do it yourself. At the molecular level, what you're preventing is lateral tire scrub. Every degree of toe misalignment creates a sideways dragging force on the tire contact patch with every rotation. That force heats the rubber unevenly. It abrades the outer or inner tread blocks at an accelerated rate. It creates a feedback loop of stress through the tie rod and into the steering rack. Catching this early and correcting it yourself, permanently, is not just about saving money today. It's about protecting thousands of dollars in tires and suspension components for the life of your vehicle. Now look at what you just learned. A free 2-minute driveway test, a chalk line, a tape measure, a wrench, the courage to trust your own eyes and your own hands. That's it. That's the whole thing they replaced with a $30,000 machine and a $200 service fee. The alignment industry cannot sell you this. They cannot charge you for knowledge you already have. They cannot build a business model around a method that empowers you to diagnose and correct your own vehicle. So they made sure you never heard it explained in plain language. They kept it buried in technical manuals and professional training courses, and the unspoken assumption that the average car owner simply isn't capable. You are capable. You always were. You just needed someone to hand you the information they tried to erase. Share this video right now. Send it to every person you know who owns a car and has ever been handed an alignment quote they couldn't verify. Because every single one of them is vulnerable to exactly what we talked about today. Every share keeps alive what the industry tried to erase. This channel exists to give you back what was taken. The buried methods, the suppressed knowledge, the $2 solutions that outperform the $200 services. And we are just getting started. The next secret opens soon.